individuals, you're helping people maybe buy a home or set up a company, you can actually do, I don't know if you guys can see this. Oh, I lost it. Did it? That's okay. So anyway, up there we had Hollywood, right? So there are entertainment lawyers. There are lawyers who work with actors and directors and just generally make sure that all the contracts that have to be in order for a movie or a TV show or any kind of entertainment to happen are happening properly. And if you can put it up, that's okay. That's what we were. So that's what that Hollywood picture is about. Then there's also a picture of a family up there. So there are family lawyers. There are lawyers who help people with adoption, with custody issues, with divorces, with all different kinds of anything that has to do with the family unit, with parents and children, or two people who are married or maybe want to choose to not be married anymore. A family lawyer would help with those kinds of things. And that would probably mostly involve some kind of litigation in court, or maybe it could be resolved out of court, so you wouldn't have to actually go to court. But there's a potential for court if you're going to be a family lawyer. There are sports lawyers, so lawyers who represent athletes, who represent teams, who, again, look at all of the contracts, make sure that athletes are getting a good deal, make sure that all of the kind of sports teams and all of their logos and designs are protected, all those kinds of things. There's also, we have a little house with a sold sign there with the family. So like I said, there are real estate attorneys who help with people who want to buy homes, people who want to sell homes, and any kind of arguments that may come up over who may own a property. Also, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, we have lots of great immigration attorneys who may represent either the United States or they would represent individuals or families who have any kind of immigration concerns with the with the United States. Maybe an individual who wants to have grounds to get asylum to be able to stay in the United States. So my organization doesn't do those cases, but we do work with other organizations that do a lot of great work in that area. And then we also wanted to mention a couple other industry areas. So there would be working on issues of energy, so issues of like renewable energy, wind energy, water energy, also sort of non-renewable resources like coal and oil issues. There are lots of attorneys who work in those areas. And also aviation. So when you work for sort of more of an industry, like if you're interested in the aviation industry and you wanted to follow a legal career path in the aviation industry, you would learn a lot about contracts, because there would be a lot of contracts between airlines. You'd probably learn a lot about employment law. You would learn about all of the contracts and the unions that are involved with the pilots and all the other individuals who work with airlines. So this is basically just to give you a sense that if you decide you want to be a lawyer, if you're thinking about it, there's just lots of different things to explore and possibilities for you. So as I mentioned, the organization that I work for, we're a nonprofit organization, and we are dedicated to furthering racial justice and securing economic equity for individuals in Chicago. And so we provide free legal services to people who may find themselves with a problem that they need help with, or for, like I said, for nonprofits that want to make sure that they're setting up their operations in the right way, or that may also have questions about employees, that may have questions about buying a piece of property or leasing a piece of property. So we provide services ourselves on staff. I'm a staff attorney. So I work with clients, but we also have a lot of volunteer attorneys who may work for a large law firm or for a corporation, and then they've decided to volunteer with us to take a case to provide free legal services for someone who needs assistance. And so that, in the legal field, that's called pro bono volunteering or pro bono work. And it's a really big part of being a lawyer and of the legal practice. Even people who work for private firms and corporations and may make a lot of money are very much encouraged to always do their pro bono and volunteer work also. And guys, the guy who's offering your jobs, you're hired. Again, this is a pro bono piece, so I'll talk a little bit more about my job duties, and then I'm happy to tell you a little bit more about kind of how I got where I am and answer your questions. For sure, I wanted to leave most of the time to answer any questions that you have. And then again, to mention that in addition to what I do and to what the lawyers at the organization that I work for do, we do have lots of these pro bono volunteers who help us to reach more people and to have a bigger impact in the community. So for someone who decides that they want to do criminal prosecution or defense, or someone who decides that they want to work for a large corporation or for a bigger law firm where you would kind of be tracked into a practice area eventually that hopefully that one that you liked and one that the law firm kind of has a need for. Even if you do one of those kinds of jobs, there's still the opportunity to do the pro bono volunteer work. And so my job duties right now, so I have my own clients that I work with in the community. A lot of them are community-based organizations, and I specifically work on issues of affordable housing and local hiring. So when a development is coming into a community, I work with community groups who are concerned about making sure that people who live in that community get the jobs that are coming, and making sure that any new development that's happening doesn't displace people who've been living in the community for a long time or working in the community for a long time, so that there's still a place that's affordable for people who've lived in the community for a long time to live. And so those are the